Warning. This podcast is solely based on smut books. The definition of smut is a story that includes one or more sexually explicit scenes. This is a warning for all listeners to proceed with caution. There will be explicit content, sex talk, and triggering subjects. We will provide a trigger warning before each episode. This podcast is not intended for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. We're your hosts. I'm Tisha.
And I'm Corey. Welcome back to our podcast.
Okay, so today we are reviewing Eyes on Me by Sara Cate. It's the second book in the Salacious Players Club, which we've already done a review on the first one, Praise.
Yum.
Which is such a good book.
Yes.
So we're going to kind of just jump into it today. So it is a contemporary romance, enemies to lovers, forbidden romance, taboo, and BDSM.
Yes. The trigger warnings, there's only one. It does mention suicide and attempt at suicide. That's kind of the only big thing from this book that we need to let you guys know about.
Yeah.
And as always, there's going to be spoilers. So if you want to read this beforehand, you have been warned.
All right, let's jump into the synopsis. So it starts at the same place that Praise did. They're in the bar with the four friends. Mm-hmm. They're drinking, shooting the shit. And then they find out that the company is going to go under the next day, where him and Emerson... Garrett, I guess I should say his name. That's Garrett. This book is about Garrett. Yep. Garrett and Emerson decide that they want to do the Salacious Players Club.
I'm glad you said that because I butcher it every time.
Salacious. So it moves forward to the now. And Garrett's single and he's lonely. He's... You can just, I don't know, like, just the way when you're in your head, oh my God, if I could talk. When you're in his head in this book, you can see how lonely and depressed and just like, he is. He just completely involves himself in work.
He's like complacent in life, I think is the right way to say that. Yeah. Like, he's bored.
Yep, bored. So we learn that his kink is voyeurism, which means watching. He likes to watch people have sex.
Crazy man.
I know. So his mom calls him because she wants him to go to their lake house. They go every summer, and she's been inviting him for years, and he hasn't been in years. And the reasoning is because his stepsister Mia of 15 years, he doesn't like her. He can't stand her. They constantly bicker. They constantly fight. They're at each other's throats. They just don't get along. So it goes to one night. He's home, depressed, he's drinking, doing his thing, and then it also goes to the night with Mia. And this is when we learn that she's over the age of 18 now, and she's a camp girl. So she's always been a little bit bigger, thicker. She's got a body, curves, and so she's never really been super confident in herself. And so when she needed money, she decided to try out this cam girl thing, and she fucking killed it. Like, she's really good at it.
It's also given her the confidence and the sexiness I think that she's needed in her life as a woman, because as women, or maybe even men, I shouldn't say just women, but it is human being nature for like the body images. It's a fucked up thing, and it can fuck with your head, and
especially with social media and celebrities and Photoshop and all that shit. Like,
it just becomes, if you're not what society thinks, you're fucked. And that's sad. And so I'm proud that she did it. I would never do a cam girl shit, but good for you, girlfriend.
Yeah, good for you, girlfriend. Yep. So one night, Garrett gets bored, and he's kind of trying, his job at the club is to put together the rooms and to have these ideas to make these dreams into a reality. Yeah. And he's always looking for new ways to make it better. And so he's online one night. Our light just went out on our video again. That's okay.
It just hates us today. At least it's not us that's having difficulties, right?
Bria might kick her camera. Okay. So he's online just kind of searching these cam websites, like trying to come up with ideas. And he comes across one certain website, and I remember him saying like, oh, it was very like, it wasn't like skanky or like trashy looking. It was very like modern and like sophisticated and professional looking. And so he decides to kind of scroll through it, and he finds Mia's live streaming. he's like shocked seeing Mia online. He's like, what the fuck? So, but then he's like interested.
Right. Like he kind of gets turned on now because he never looked at her in a sexual manner. And now he does. And he is like,
he's like, holy shit, she's like a woman now.
He's intrigued and turned on and like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, do our parents know? Like,
yep.
Yeah.
And he even like recognizes her room in the background and stuff. And he's just like, she's home, or at the lake house, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
And so then, fucking idiot.
I know.
He's like, I'm going to do a private room chat with her. So he pays $450 goddamn dollars to get a private show with her. And during the private show, he keeps his camera off the whole time.
Yes.
And, but she has hers on and she's like, let me see you. And he's like, I don't want, like, no, it's me. And so he turns the camera on and points it towards his body.
Yeah.
Just his body. And she's like, damn, he's kind of hot, you know?
Yeah.
And so she starts touching herself and he starts touching himself. And
and they get off together. And it's really fucking hot. Like, instant out of the gate, chirp, chirp. And it's just like,
you're like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wow. That's how this works. Also, his fake name on this app is Drake. We have to put that in there now or else we're going to forget.
And if you remember Drake from Praise, he's the like bad boy player, like fucks everything that walks type thing. He's the one that
he's the man whore.
Yeah, he's the one that got Charlie to put the toy in.
Yeah, when Emerson got pissed. Yeah.
Okay, so then after that, he decides that he wants to go to the lake house.
He wants to go see if this attraction is real or if it's just because he's lonely. So he goes up there. Also, Mia's dad, which is married to Garrett's mom, does have cancer. So he's had it for years now, off and on. They've been fighting with it. I think he went into remission. Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't remember. I think he did, though.
Yeah. So he goes up there and they bicker like brother and sister do. And they continue throughout this whole thing on the Cam Girl app. Like, he doesn't allow her to know just yet what's going on. He doesn't want her to. And they start getting more personal and more vulnerable between what they talk about. Like, she opens about her life and he does as well. And let's see. He feels good behind the mask. He finally feels like he can open up to somebody, and Mia's starting to crush on him.
Yep.
So they go to bed after one night of talking, and Mia wakes up in the middle of the night and finds Garrett awake on the couch watching Golden Girls, and I love it. I laughed so hard. I was like, what the fuck?
On that past Cam Girl one, though, he calls her Kitten.
Oh, you're right. You're
right.
Yep.
So he's developed the nickname Kitten for her as Drake.
Yes. So she goes and sits down with him under the blanket next to him, and they're watching it, and they kind of talk for a minute, and she says something smartass, and he tackles her to the couch and kind of gets on top of her, like, sexual. And they're kind of teasing each other, like they want it, but they don't want to cross the boundaries, because once they cross those lines, it's crossed.
Yeah.
And so they kind of end things and go to bed. So the next day is when Garrett goes on a run, and he runs to help with his depression because being active, it gives you the endorphins you need. And he finds his mom and Mia on the paddleboards. And his mom makes a comment about, I'm so glad to see you're running again. And Mia's kind of confused, like, what does she mean, like, running again? But
like,
kind
did he stop?
Yeah, just kind of leaves it.
Because wasn't he on, like, the track team in high school? Like, he's always been a big runner.
Yeah, up until, like, a certain age to where his depression really got to him, and then he was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
His mom hurry and is like, here, you get on, I gotta go. And
she's like trying to have them rekindle their relationship as brother and sister. So he gets on the paddleboard even though he doesn't want to.
No.
And he struggles, and it is so funny. Like, Mia has to help him, like, relax and, like, help him stand up, and they're having fun. They're, like, laughing together and having fun.
Right. And they're also both secretly checking each other out without, like, trying to make it obvious.
Yep. Yeah. And, like, she even, like, pushes him off the paddleboard. Like, it's just
I love this scene.
And I think he's kind of, like, at this point, like, okay, like, I guess we do get along. Like, why have we been fighting and bickering our whole lives, you know?
Yeah.
So once they're done, they go home, and the parents ask them to meet at the bar. So she's like, yeah, we can do that, but I've got to shower first.
Ugh.
So she goes and gets in the shower, but she purposefully leaves the door cracked open. And she starts to masturbate in the shower with the thought of, like, he's watching me right now. Like, and even though she doesn't know for sure, but she's like, he's watching me right now. And she
can
totally
feel it.
gets off. So as she's getting out of the shower, Garrett opens the door and leans over her and says, there's no soap in the other bathroom, grabs the soap and walks out.
I was just like, oh my God. The teasing in this, the build up.
So they get ready and they go to the bar, and they're all, so it's the parents, Garrett, Mia, and then a guy named Reese is there, which is one of the parents' friends' kids.
Yes.
And I think that they're trying to, like, get her and Mia, or him and Mia, to connect and hang out, and who knows, because she hasn't had a serious boyfriend ever, really.
No, I don't think so. I think she's kind of been too shy about it, like too to herself.
So they're trying to play Cupid. I hate it when parents do that.
I know.
It's like, you don't know what I like. Fuck off.
Suck my dick. Okay, I had to. I got Tisha watching Love Island, and it's my favorite quote.
My dick. It's so funny. Okay, so then we meet Reese.
Yeah.
And
this is when Mia starts going on karaoke.
yes,
now.
so she loves karaoke. So she decides to sign up, and she's up there singing her heart out, and the whole time Reese is on his phone, and Garrett's getting pissed off. He's like, watch her.
Yeah.
Even though she sucks.
He just seems like so disinterested and kind of disgusted.
Like, he's like, why is she singing? She's not even good type thing. And Garrett's getting fucking pissed.
Yeah.
So then the parents go home because it's late, and Mia wants to stay because she still has one more round of karaoke to go. And Garrett's like, I'll stay with her and make sure she gets home safe.
The parents were kind of trying to get him to leave, though, because they wanted her to have that time with Reese. And he's like, I'm not leaving her with him. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So the Reese gets up to go to the bathroom, and then Garrett gets up and decides to go to the bathroom. And as he's walking past, he hears Reese talking on the phone with his friends that he's confirming that she's the girl from the cam website and that he's totally going to sleep with her tonight. And Garrett loses his shit and ends up punching him.
Yeah.
And Mia's like, what the fuck are you doing? So they go home, and he can't tell her because she doesn't know that he knows.
No, his phone, the guy's phone showed.
Oh, you're right.
And she got mad because she felt embarrassed that Garrett was going to be upset. And so she took off, and then they go home.
Yes.
And he, like, doesn't, he's stuck in a rock and a hard spot right now. He either blows his cover or just kind of brushes it off, you know?
So when they get home, Garrett admits that he likes her, and she needs to keep her hands off. And they end up kissing.
I love it.
I know. It's kind of like gross because they're like step siblings, but it's kind of cute at the same time. They've never had like a bond or a connection, though.
It's only okay in a book.
Only okay in a book. Listen here, guys. If you're going to learn one thing from us, that's it.
I'm sorry if that's happened to you in real life. I don't mean any disrespect.
Okay, so they kiss, and then things get heavy, and Mia admits that she's a virgin. And Garrett's kind of like
Freezes.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to take your virginity. And he shuts down and is like, nope, we're not doing this today. And she gets super fucking embarrassed and pissed off. And so then she storms upstairs, and she immediately gets on the app and starts talking to Drake because she feels like she can talk to him emotionally.
Right.
And, oh my gosh, I have to cough. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll take it.
I'm right there.
Okay, so she's talking to Drake about it, and that she admits what's going on. And this is also where he admits that Drake, as Garrett, admits that he hasn't had sex with a girl in 10 years. And so they just get vulnerable, and they keep talking, and he asks, like, why don't you tell him? And she's like, because it's not like that with him, you know? So they just talk for a while. They go to sleep. The next day, Mia's in the kitchen. And Garrett apologizes and talks about the webcam and, you know, kind of seeing how she got about it, and tells Mia that she's a exhibitionist.
Exhibitionist.
Is that right?
Exhibitionist, yeah.
I think so. Which means she likes to be watched. And he kind of agrees to play around with her.
Yes.
And he gets out an ice cube and starts trailing it all over her body. This scene to me was just like,
It was so hot.
I wish you guys could have seen my face when I did that, because it was like droll. Yeah. And so he puts it, downstairs and starts eating her out in the kitchen on the island. They could be caught at any time.
Yeah, parents could come home anytime.
Yeah, and he accidentally calls her fucking kitten in this scene, and I was just like, you dumbass, you're gonna blow your fucking cover. Which, luckily, she was too into the moment. She didn't realize it. So the parents come home, and they hurry and separate.
They're like, nothing.
Yeah, nothing happened. And they just kind of go on about their day. The next day, they go on a hike.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes her off the trail, and there's people that are walking this trail. Like, it's not a hidden trail at all. And they're deeper into the woods, and she starts to give him a blowjob. And people are walking closer and closer. And he comes, but he obviously comes in her mouth.
Yeah.
And she just looks up at him like, I'm not swallowing this. He's like, you can spit. She hurried and spits it out. And I died, because I would be the person, like, I'm sorry. I don't know if I could ever swallow. Like, like, disgusting. Nope. To those of you that swallow, you're the true champs of blowjobs, because I can't do it.
I am the champion.
Wait, next time you give Nick a blowjob, just start singing, "We are the champions."
I'll say Corey said. She said I was a champ.
Sorry, guys, that was just too funny.
TMI. There is no limit with us.
Nope, we broke that barrier. Alrighty, so then they go home to the lake house after all this.
Yeah, so they were only there for a week, 2 weeks?
I think just a week after this, so after the blowjob, though.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if we have, there's a little bit more before they leave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
so they get home from the hike.
Oh.
Let me clarify my damn self.
I was like, I don't think that they go home yet. Okay, so they get back to the lake house. Okay. I see. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Cool.
So Garrett is continuing to talk to Mia as Drake. I feel like he thinks it's a way for him to get to know her personally, like more on an emotional side. Mm-hmm. But because he doesn't know how to open up himself.
Yeah.
With his depression and everything.
I think he is one that is scared of rejection, 100%, and it's understandable.
Mm-hmm. So like over the time that they've been there, they have really connected, but he does have to get back to work, so he does go home at this point.
Oh, this was so sad when he left, because he takes her and kisses her and then just goes home, and I was like,
they didn't want to leave each other.
No, I was sad.
So the Salacious owners all have a meeting together, and they decide that they need something new. Like, they need to have something that's going to bring more people in. And that's when he tells everybody that Mia is a cam girl, and maybe she could have some ideas on what they could do. So they decide to bring Mia in, and I'm pretty sure Garrett's like, I don't know, I'll talk to her.
Yeah, he didn't want to do it.
But then Emerson goes behind his back and talks to Mia, and Mia shows up. So when Mia gets there, she didn't know it was going to be a sex club.
No, she's completely blinded.
She's like, what
this
the fuck
poor girl.
is this? So she ends up in the voyeur room. She's kind of wandering around. And of course, who else is she going to run into but Madam Kink,
right?
Miss Eden here. And so she introduces herself and takes her to the bar. And after she has a drink, they do have that rule 2-drink limit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so after she has a drink, she goes to get a tour from Eden. Garrett finds her because she gets lost, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, at the beginning, she kind of just like wanders, and that's when she ran into Eden. And so now Eden's like, oh my God, you poor girl, let's take a tour so you're not so fucking sheltered and shocked right now.
Because she didn't know it was a sex club.
Yeah.
So Garrett ends up finding her, and he's pissed off that she's there. They go into a room, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And she's like, what the fuck is this? And then they totally bone. And it's
he
hot.
Takes her virginity.
Yeah.
This room has mirrors, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I think this is the room with mirrors. This was hot. They not only have sex once, they do it 3 fucking times.
Not twice, but 3 times.
I was going to say the double tap, but the
Triple tap.
Triple tap. This scene was hot. And this is where the non-realistic side is for maybe if you have your first time with an older man, maybe it's better. I don't know. But you're sore as fuck. How the fuck do
3 times my asshole.
Yeah, no.
And I love my bleached asshole.
I love it.
Yeah, no. Okay. So afterwards, she's kind of feeling guilty towards Drake, even though they're not like in a relationship or anything, but she feels like she has to tell him. So she tells Drake that they totally had sex. And he's like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to send you a gift. And it's a butt plug.
I love it.
And it's to surprise Garrett with. And she's like, are you sure he's going to like this? And he's like, yeah, he's absolutely going to like it. And it's so funny because you know that it's him saying, he's like, yeah, I'm going to like it. Like,
right. Oh, I love it.
Okay, so then they go into the room with the restraints.
Oh.
And she shows him the butt plug, which she has already inserted into herself.
Yes, I think it goes to the dual point, and he's like, I get to see Mia tonight, and with my little toy I surprised myself with. I was like, you fucker.
You sneaky little fucker. So she has the butt plug in, she rides him, it's super fucking sexy. That totally
does it not make sense?
No.
Who is he?
It goes, she was, and then goes to the next bullet point.
This is a little bit, where were you at? Let's see. Okay, supposed to.
Oh, she was supposed to go home.
Oh, after, she was supposed to go home after they have sex, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But she ends up going to his house, doesn't she?
No. She goes to Gio, which is the bartender of the club, and rents a voyeur room and goes in there by herself and masturbates and has a huge...
I almost just knocked my teeth out with my microphone.
You made me go blank on my word.
She has a huge crowd,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but the confidence to do that... Ooh.
No.
I don't even pee with the door open.
I could go that far. Depends on who's home, but and Garrett storms in when she's done, and he claims her. Like, he was like, fuck. Like, that was too hot. Like, he was so turned on, but you gotta remember, Garrett's a voyeur.
Yeah, he likes to watch.
Yeah, so it just... So Mia's dad ends up in the hospital after this. Yeah. Garrett's on a run, and she calls Garrett crying, and he runs to her.
Runs, not drives. He runs.
That man. And his mom sees the way they interact with each other, and it's...
She's like, why is he the first one that she called when they haven't been able to...
her.
Yeah, and they haven't ever had this relationship.
Yeah. So they go back to Garrett's house, and they decide between both of them to give it a shot. They just, let's do it. So Mia goes to sleep, and while Mia's asleep, he runs his mom dinner. And this is where she tells Garrett she knows that there's something going on between him and Mia, and that she's happy because he's finally happy. Mm-hmm. She's seen him at his worst. Obviously, it's his mom, but he's happy, and she's like, but I'm not the dad, so good luck. And that's pretty funny. I'm like, okay.
I think that's what I was most nervous about in this whole book. I was like, how the fuck are they going to tell their parents?
Yeah. You could it's either going to go one of two ways. They're going to support it, or they're going to disown him.
Yeah.
Yeah. While he's at the hospital with his mom, Mia wakes up and gets a knock on the door. And this is where Drake comes in, bringing them dinner for what's going on. And Mia starts getting the red flags that Garrett's lying. Mm-hmm. And she kind of puts the pieces of the puzzle together. And that's really, I don't like it.
And this whole time he's been fighting with himself about telling her. He's like, I should tell her. And then he doesn't. And then he fucked himself.
Yep. So once Garrett gets home, they're talking, and it's kind of a little bit weird. She gets on the app and messages him, and his phone goes off as Drake, and it broke my heart. Yes. So she leaves, and it was really hard. Mm-hmm. And this is where we learn about Garrett's depression.
Yep. So we learn that 10 years prior to this, he was severely depressed. Mm-hmm. And he was drinking all the time. He was sleeping around. He basically just didn't give a shit about his life.
Yeah.
And he didn't care about giving up. He was at that point. Mm-hmm. He went to... Mia's, thank you. Mm-hmm. We've done 3 recordings today, and all the names are blending together.
I know. I'm proud of us for doing that. We've only done it once this time. So,
so he goes to Mia's birthday party, and wasn't he drunk?
Yeah.
I think he was drunk.
I think he was hungover.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
I think he was hungover, still drunk from the night before.
And his mom was just lashing out at him. Mia was lashing out at him. And he was just like, okay, nobody fucking wants me. Nobody cares about me. So he went home that night and he took a bunch of pills and drank and he almost died. It was an attempted suicide.
That was a really hard part of the book.
Mm-hmm. It was really hard.
Because understanding depression, that's a big thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So because Mia has left him, Emerson just spirals downward. He's...
Garrett?
Nope. Garrett. It says Emerson right here. So Garrett spirals. He's not going to work. His apartment's a mess. He's just...
And he does tell Emerson that he wants out.
Yeah.
Somebody else can buy him out.
Yep. He's like, I don't want to be a part of it anymore. And so one day Emerson shows up at his apartment, walks in, says, go get showered. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? He's like, I'm here to help you. He's like, I don't need help. And he's like, you're going to the show tonight. And he's like, no, I'm not. And Emerson pushes and Garrett is like, fuck you, get out of my apartment. And Emerson just doesn't listen, rolls up his sleeves, goes over and starts doing his dishes.
I love it.
And he's just like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I'm your friend. Like, I am not leaving here until I know that you're okay, until you are showered and dressed and you are leaving with me. And if you're not going, then I'm not going. And I was just like, Emerson, I loved you with praise and I love you with this. Like,
right? It's like, how much more can we love him?
It was so great. So eventually Garrett gives in. He gets dressed, or goes showers, gets dressed, and they go.
Little does he know they have a little trick, because he told them that I was going to say Maggie, because I was thinking of the other fucking person. I did it now. That Mia wasn't going to be there. But little does he know they put a little surprise.
She's kind of the star of the night.
Yeah, he doesn't know that yet.
No. So they show up, and Mia gets on stage. It's a rotating bed, and she's about to do basically like a live cam show is what it is. And the room's packed full of people.
Yeah.
And when he sees her, he runs to her in front of everybody.
I love it.
And he's apologizing profusely, and he wants to make it up to her. And he gets naked. And she straps his hands on the bed. And the butt plug's there. And she totally puts it in him.
I loved it.
I was shocked. I was like, okay.
I was too.
Okay.
I was just like,
okay. Huh. And he's loving it.
Oh, yeah. But it teaches him the vulnerability that he needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once the butt plug is seated
and secured in the butthole,
she gives him a blowjob, and they have sex in front of everybody on the rotating bed, and it was hot and heavy. And it really does teaches him vulnerability. Like, it's okay to be vulnerable, especially like in a room full of people, you know. I feel like that was a big lesson. So after the show, they go home, and she asks all the questions, and he opens up about his depression. Yeah.
Everything. They are completely to the point where all cards are on the table at this point. There's no secrets if we want this to work.
The communication is there, and that's what both of them, I feel like, needed to work on the most.
Absolutely. So they become the couple. Yeah. And they do tell her dad. He's supportive.
I know.
And he loves Garrett. Like, absolutely.
He's seen him all throughout his life, you know?
Yes, I love it. So here's part one of the epilogue with Garrett. He is going to therapy now, and he's taking care of himself. He goes on to the antidepressants. They're happy. And Mia does a show once a month in the foyer room.
Yep.
Once a month or every night. I don't know. Every night, whatever. But she likes it, and they respect that with each other. They have that same respect. Then it goes to Mia in the future. Nope, I'm sorry, still at Garrett. He asked Mia to marry him.
No.
I forgot. I'm like, let me go back. And they go to tell the parents, and they're so excited, but his mom was like, oh, I thought you were going to be pregnant. And I was just laughing. I was like, I love it. Like, that is such accepting parents. As a parent, I don't know how you would feel in that. You know what I mean?
That would be hard.
You have your child, a stepchild that you're supposed to look as a child, and they're together. Like, how do you look at that?
Siblings, it's just like...
Yeah. I don't know.
Is it even legal? Because, like, if the parents are married, can the step siblings get married?
I don't know. I would say yes because there's no blood relation. But I don't know.
If anybody knows the law, you let me know.
Yeah,
just
right?
curious.
Just want to know. We could Google it.
Google it.
Jinx. Now we go to Mia's epilogue, and they're in Japan for their anniversary, and they are trying for a baby at this point. And they are doing so good. They're so in love, and they have the open communication, and they're just fucking in Japan. And that's the way the book ends.
The end books. That's the way the crumble cookies.
That was perfect. Oh my god, I do that to my words all the time.
Yes.
I absolutely loved this book.
I did too. It was really good.
I don't know which one I loved more.
I loved Praise more. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I think it's because I have a Praise kink.
Yeah, I don't know. I love them both for their own reasons. Obviously, I think when you read a series, that first one's always your favorite because that's what attracts you to it. That's what builds the series.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I love them both. I love Charlie and Emerson, but I love Mia and Garrett.
They're so cute.
Love them.
Yeah. Either way, both of them are fucking amazing.
And the next one comes out
in a couple of weeks.
I think so. Yeah. And I think that's going to be interesting because the next one's going to be polyamorous is kind of the way to say it.
It's about Hunter, his wife, and Drake.
Yeah. I'm interested. I know there's swords crossing and I'm excited for it. I have a thing for the MM. I don't know why. I do. Alrighty. Who's your favorite character?
You know what? I know this wasn't Emerson's book, but I really fucking loved Emerson in it just because he was like their first friend and he pushed him to like get him out of that slump, you know? Yeah. And then obviously Mia. I loved Mia. And I loved Garrett too. I loved all of them. Garrett was kind of a sly little bitch though.
You know, I agree. I loved Garrett because of who he was in the character book. He was obviously the main character. But I think I loved Mia the most. She was just so confident and she was afraid to go after what she wanted, but at the same time, she just fucking did it. And I think she helped Garrett in a lot of ways too. You know what I mean? And I love her.
Yeah,
I praise her.
She was good.
What was your smuttiest scene?
The ending scene with the butt club. Butt club? the club for butts. The butt plug.
I have to agree. That or the mirrors, the room with the mirrors. I think those two scenes for me. Dude, even the ice cube one.
That one was hot. I want to try something with an ice cube now.
Me too. Me too. One day I need to start making a list of everything that I want to try and be prepared for the future and be like, okay, here's the list.
These are my stipulations.
It's like the first scene in Praise. Tell me what you're okay with and what you're not okay with, and then we'll go from there.
We'll work you up to the other
Just kidding. I hope that they're okay when this time comes, and I'm so open about this shit.
Better be.
What's your chirp level?
5.
Definitely a 5.
5.
And you'd recommend it?
I would. I did like the first one more, but this one I would 100% read.
I agree. I think for me, I can't read just one book in a series. I have to read all of them, regardless if I love the series or not. I don't think I've ever not finished. I don't think so.
That's crazy.
So, alrighty. That is the end of today's episode. So we are going to be releasing our episodes bi-weekly. We will keep you updated for upcoming episodes on our Instagram and TikTok. So give us a follow at SmutSluts.BookPodcast. And next time we are going to be reviewing the Madison Cate series by Tate James.
I am so excited.
I am too. I love these books
so much. Okay. So also we do have a YouTube channel. If you want to watch us interact while we record our episode, you can subscribe to our channel at SmutSluts.BookPodcast. That's all one word.
And thank you guys so much for listening today.
Keep it kinky, SmutSluts.
We'll see you next time.